We're going to start now. Good morning. I am Malcolm Nance. This is Black Man Spy podcast and Substack Live. Today is the day 37 of the U.S.-Iranian war. And in this WARCAST, we are joined by my co-host, who is finally here after a week skiing in the French, Italian, Swiss Alps, Jacob Kaarsbo. Hello, Jacob. Welcome back.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
It's good to have you.
I like your wife's style, which is, oh, you can take a week off from this war. It'll be back. It'll be there when you come back.
That's what I
And
figured.
you're like, drive 18 hours to the Swiss Alps, to the French Alps.
Yeah.
Why are we not doing this, Wajeeh? We're sincerely slacking off. So great to have you back. Thank you, Jacob. And our, by the way, former Danish intelligence officer, Middle East expert, and now our Saudi geopolitical analyst from Saudi Arabia via Minneapolis, Minnesota, Wajeeh, the gay lion. Wajeeh, salam alaikum wa
Thank you for having me.
rahmatullahi
Wa alaikum
Hello.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me. Today I'm wearing my my King of Morocco outfit.
That's it.
You know what? I'm too busy to go down into my man cave. I've been back a week and I haven't been down there at all. I haven't even opened the combo. And, I've got my whole hat collection down there. But let's limit that today. We have to stick to an hour. I have another podcast to do. I've been doing CNN, Al Jazeera. Everybody has been calling me. I don't get a break from 3 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon. I do a very solid 11 hours of work. And then I start again on Twitter Spaces. I'm always invited in. So I want to start early. First, Jacob, do you have coffee or what?
I do. I do have my trying mug. So, yeah, I have a little bit.
Okay, let's see your mug. There you go. He's got his traveling mug. Wajeeh, what are you drinking from? Oh, that's very pretty. Oh, very pretty. A nice blue.
I'm
Blue
still
like
waiting
the
on my
sky.
Saudi Special Forces mug.
Okay. And I am drinking out of a dainty little English tea service cup because I was too lazy to clean the coffee cups I have in my bedroom. And my wife has this dainty tea service set that is never to be used. I decided to use it. And it's cute. I feel like I'm at like a little English tea with a bunny rabbit and a chipmunk or something like that. So, that being said, let's move on to now that we have our coffee cups. Let's move on to the casualty count. Wajeeh, can you please bring up the casualty count on the Al Jazeera casualty live tracker, which is not being tracking particularly accurately, but they're getting there. I think they're doing it once a week. Wajeeh, are you still with us? We shall see.
There you
He's
go.
probably pulling it up now. Somebody's
Can you
having
see that?
kombucha with kimchi. What? Okay, please give us a readout on the casualty live tracker.
I hope you could see this very well. In Lebanon, unfortunately, we have 1,345 killed, 4,040 injured. Again, I have a theory that there's a direct correlation between displacement and number of killed, especially that there is not much infrastructure in Lebanon, and they are already facing the crippling economy and a failing government. 4 killed in Palestine, 4 killed in Syria, 24 killed in Israel, 6,594 injured in Israel, 29 injured in Jordan, 109 killed in uh, Iraq with a dozen injured, 7 people killed in Kuwait with dozens injured. In Saudi Arabia, you have 2 killed and 22 injured. Bahrain, you have 3 killed, dozens injured. Qatar, you have 16 injured. UAE, you have 12 killed and 190 people injured. Let's remember that the UAE got the biggest hit from the Iranian government from the GCC. Oman, they have 3 killed and 15 injured. And then Iran, 2,076 killed and 26,500 injured. And the one of the important numbers that we really need to focus on, it says 13 killed, and I checked more than 365 injured. It says 200, but I checked the number. More than 365 U.S. soldiers have been injured, and we have
Mhm.
two. And then I think you're going to cover the planes, right?
Yeah, I am. That's a significant activity. So
Adding
nobody
some.
killed thus far. Okay, so that's it for our casualty count. Let's go straight to significant activities. Yesterday, when we were signing off, the significant activities were just starting. We have a US F-15E Strike Eagle was shot down under in South Central Iran. We discussed that yesterday. I'm going to bring it up on the situation map so that you can see it on Google Earth. Okay, this is the Strait of Hormuz in the Middle East, right there. Here in southwest Iran, in the Zagros Mountains, is where the aircraft went down, southwest of Isfahan. On the way to Isfahan, I will show you and give you an update on that situation. It went down right here in the heart of the Zagros Mountains. I don't know if you can see
Was that
that,
the
but
A-10?
no, this is the F-15. That went down that we talked about yesterday. Two people on board, pilot and a WSO, a weapons systems officer. That's the person who guides the bombs, drops everything, but is also a pilot, a co-pilot. He can fly the aircraft if he has to. We showed the video yesterday. Actually, I think I'll show it again, where the F-15 was hit on an infrared with a infrared missile. And that is a missile that tracks only the heat out of the aircraft. And when I showed the video yesterday, it was the one that most people were not tracking. And it shows really clearly that the aircraft was not only hit, but that there were two clean ejections from it. Just bear with me. Uh, ba, 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 ba. Infrared. And while everybody else was going on about, oh, here's pictures of the airplanes, there was a very good Iranian video of the missile striking the aircraft. And I don't know why I didn't save it, but it does show the ejection of the pilots coming out of there. Explosion. And two clean seats. I pointed that out yesterday. I don't know why I didn't do that. While we're
You
looking
did
for that, I
point
got to
them
tell
out
you,
yesterday.
say again?
You did point them out yesterday. You went second by second on the video
Okay.
last
This
morning.
is This is the F-15E Strike Eagle aircraft. It is not a stealth aircraft. It is a bomb truck. As you can see, it has a pilot in the front and a WSO, weapon systems officer and operator in the back. It can carry a F-ton of bombs and missiles for fighter aircraft. If it has to get into a dogfight, it can get into a dogfight. This was our standard aircraft uh, in the U.S. Air Force, our standard interceptor from the 1970s to today. They converted most of the ones that we operate today are F-15E strike aircraft. And their job is to blow things up, drop loads of bombs. So, gosh, we're having a hard time finding this video again. So,
Here, let me work
a
on that for you.
the pilot and the co-pilot ejected from the aircraft. They went down in central Iran, and we saw yesterday the search and rescue operation that took place involving U.S. helicopters flying in the middle of the day in Iran. For those of you who know, I was a survival, evasion, resistance, and escape school instructor. That's the school where we teach you what to do after you have been shot down, and your job changes from pilot to a survival evader. Your job is to stay out of enemy hands. That happened with the help of U.S. Special Operations. Okay, and here's some of the aircraft. Here's a photo of U.S. aircraft flying over Iran, refueling the two HH-60 Special Operations helicopters, which have the pararescue men who fly in and get it. That transport is not just a refueler, it is what we call a pathfinder. It will lead these helicopters right to the crash site, circle over it, make communications with the pilot, because those helicopters will not land. In fact, they generally don't take off and penetrate enemy airspace unless they have positive identification of that pilot. Here's one of the helicopters flying over Iran right now. There's boatloads of video out there of these aircraft flying in that country. So you can go on the internet, you can see it all day, all night. The Iranians, everybody with a cell phone. This one I'm going to show you in a minute. Everyone with a cell phone took it out and took videos of the aircraft. Here are the two helicopters, the two rescue helicopters flying very close to the target. Now, how do I know that? Because the transport aircraft is not there. It's going to a higher altitude. And you can see these aircraft are very low to the ground, right? Which is interesting. But what they don't see, and they won't see for a few moments, is there are Iranian police cars that have set up a roadblock on that road, and they are opening fire on both of these helicopters. You can watch this right now. You can hear these guys blazing away with their AK-47s. And guess what? They hit both helicopters. We've already received reports that U.S. service members as part of the rescue crew were hit and wounded.
هلیکوپتر آمریکا از نیرو نظامی برای دشت بزن به نازمت بزن هلیکوپتر آمریکا
That's one more time.
از نیرو نظامی
See, there's some three cops out there.
دشت بزن به نازمت بزن.
So as you see, one of the pilots was rescued. The other person has not yet been recovered. They say that he is alive, he and or she is alive. As you saw in Kuwait, we had female F-15 pilots. He or she is alive. They are in positive communication. The problem is that person's job right now is survivor evader, to stay out of enemy hands. And what we're doing is we're probably using drones and satellites and aircraft that are in the area to move that person to a conventional recovery, which means to a spot where the helicopters can pick them up. We don't know
I
if the
found the
person is
video.
also. I'm sorry, you found it?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
go
want
ahead
me
and
to send
play.
it to you?
Yeah, send me. Well, let's see. Who's the
You want
site
to,
that it's on? Who's the person that it's on?
you know how Arabs, really hate Americans, so I just looked it up in Arabic because they
Oh,
love replaying that shit.
okay. Well, let's just keep
So,
going on because we've got limited time. I'll show it later. So
okay.
the F-15 was shot down. When you eject, the aircraft is moving and you are on the end of a rocket sled. You can get physically separated from your pilot or Wizzo in just a matter of a second because you are going from 0 Gs to 15 Gs, and you can be injured through the whiplash of the ejection chair. And we talked about that yesterday. The actual ejection process puts you into the proper position to eject, brings your head back. But that doesn't mean the explosion of the missile on the aircraft didn't wound you. The other person could be out there. The problem is now all of South Central Iran is hunting for that individual. And we saw yesterday there was a news report where they called on everyone to hunt for the pilot. And right on cue, that area of Iran is very mountainous, right? And those people are literally hillbillies. And here is a video that they turned in of them hunting for the pilot. And you can see they have single shot rifles. There's one guy with an AK because he's the cop, right? And they're all out there.
همسالات پیدا میشه نتن آقای یه سلام علیکم یا سلام علیکم بچه‌ها همیشه بالا آقای سلام علیکم خسته باشین خسته نباشین خسته نباشین یا سلام علیکم آقای سلام علیکم حدیث چیه پیدا می‌کنی ان شاء الله پیدا میشه ان شاء الله ان شاء الله
Inshallah Pradamshi. God willing, we're going to find him. So there is a hunt. Now, it is extensive mountain terrain. The first thing we do is we teach you to get away from the crash site and to a place of safety where you can communicate with us. And we don't mean just like any little bottom, little tree. We want you to have cover, right? Cover so that when bullets are bouncing around you, and this is mountain, so you can get into a little hole. The problem is you're going to create trail, right? You are going to create a little trail of your footsteps and boot steps, and you've got to get as far away from the site. The beautiful thing about this is usually hunters and people who are after you go generally to the site of the crash, and then they start looking for your ejection seat from there. That gives you a little window of time to move slowly. I'm going to teach you guys something. Never run when you're being hunted. Never, 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 never. Because when you run, you're like a jackrabbit or you're like a deer that's dashing. Hunters who have been in those mountains forever, they are looking for a differential in the periphery of their eye of what's not moving and what's moving fast. And so as soon as you run, it is human perception to pick up on that thing that is moving quickly. We teach you to move like molasses, crawl slowly, right? And pretend like you're a French mime imitating, a slow motion fall. That's how we want it. And hopefully that pilot is holed up. He is in communication. One thing we won't do, we will also not circle over you. We will circle off in a distance at high altitude, and we will communicate with you. Some of these SEER radios, the CSAR radios, are encrypted, right? So we can also get in communication with you via satellite, right? So, and then once we've got you by a satellite, we will give you now the new survival radios will actually send you data link instructions with a map telling you stand up, walk in this direction, right? If you see people, go to the right, go to the left, but meet us at this waypoint at this time. It may be a helicopter that's there, but there are other methodologies of recovery. Conventional recovery is whoop-a-doo, we fly in a helicopter, we land. A parajumper will come out. He will physically put his hands on you and guide you back to the helicopter, right? We don't want you running to the helicopter because sometimes guys get itchy trigger fingers. And then you will take off and you will start your memoirs. Then the other kind is called an unconventional recovery. There are many different ways of unconventional recovery. You can be sitting there minding your own business and then suddenly, right, guys from freaking Delta Force or SEAL Team 6 show up around you and go, "What's for breakfast?" And then they take you and you are now a package that is carried along with them where you will patrol out with them to a recovery point. Another unconventional recovery is people related to the CIA or other intelligence agencies who may have a guy there named Hussein and his brother Hassan, who are U.S. intelligence officers or assets. And they will send you a message saying, go to this light post, lay in the grass, and two guys named Hassan and Hussein, who are going to be playing rap music, will come out. And as they take a pee, all right, they will flash a little infrared flashlight at you, and we want you to say this. And they will come out and they will say some code word that we have sent you via the sat phone. And then you will get in the car and they will hand you civilian clothes, right? And then they will extract you maybe to a point where Delta Force comes and gets you, or they hand you over to the Israelis, or they take you to a safe house. What we don't ever want you to do is do not make contact with civilians. Never, right? Don't be going to people's houses. Don't be stealing their shit. Don't be, saying, oh, I'm tired, I need water. I will throw myself upon the mercy of the Iranian people. That could be a mistake. Although most people will be insanely hospitable to you, right? Not everybody. They'll be serving you saffron rice and kebabs, and then the IRGC guys will come in for dinner too, right? Then you'll all enjoy that dinner every day until a negotiated release. So that's what's going on with the F-15. More news. In addition to that F-15,
just
go ahead.
one observation there, Malcolm. Here,
Yes, sir.
The fact that the one of the crew is still out there and one was extracted already is a bad sign because
well, it's two things, Jake. It's one, we have a tendency not to do two pickups, right? From hostile terrain if we know that the other person is close to urban environment and in fact, the extraction may compromise him more. What we'll do is one team will take out this guy and a second team will rotate with us and take out the second guy, right? The problem is when the first crew came in. Oh, this is another thing. The very fact that we did this in daytime is insane. We don't do that shit in daytime unless we 1000% know where you are. We have a drone with its eyes on you, right? And we know you're not near bad guys and you've moved to a safe spot. Then we will insert the extraction team, the CSAR helicopters. We'll land and we'll winch your ass out, or we'll land and pick your ass up. But what does it do when helicopters and transport planes are flying over Iranian airspace? I have now alerted everyone else in Iran that there is another guy out there. The second team most likely also got shot at. 2 helicopters were hit. So, let's move on. This is the aircraft loss chart.
One second.
Yeah,
So you have one plane, which is the F-15 that has 2 pilots in it. And then you have the A-10 that has 1 pilot in it. We have only retrieved 1 pilot. What about the 2 others?
Yeah, well, we have retrieved one of the 2, right? We have retrieved one of the 2 U.S. Air Force pilots who were flying the F-15.
F-15.
And in a moment, I'm going to talk to you about the A-10 Warthog. But before we go, I want to show you, this is a Prick 112G, an ANPRC 112G. This is the newest, latest survival, evasion, resistance, and escape radio. This is on the pilot's escape vest, right? He wears it all the time. This is not in the seat pan of his ejection seat. This is physically on him. He has on him this radio, a water bottle, a quart water bottle, and then he'll have his survival gear like fire starting, water filtration, all that physically on his vest. When he ejects, that goes off with him. In the ejection seat, we have a secondary survival kit. It's called the ejection seat pan. In there is a rifle and 4 magazines of ammunition, 120 rounds of ammunition, so he can fight, right? That's the GAU-5 survival rifle. But this thing gives him positive communications in every direction. Let me show you this. and it is satellite linked, and radio linked. So he can talk to an airplane that's right above his head. I'm going to show you why do they take away the cool photos when I'm looking at them? And he could talk to the aircraft right above their head, and he can also talk to Washington, right? PRC-1112G. There you go. Hook Combat Rescue, radio rescue. It's a cool radio because it communicates both ways, both satellite and telephone, right? It can become a cell phone. It can become a radio. It can become a satellite dish. And we can send you insane amounts of instructions on that, right? So there you go. And I will show you real quick the GAL 5 rifle. It's a survival rifle. Back in the old days, it used to be taken into parts. This is the U.S. Air Force GAL 5 survival rifle. It physically comes apart into two pieces. And then once you put it together, it's an M4 rifle, right? It's got 120 rounds. Here's a good example. This is a guy named Garand Thumb holding the rifle. That's what it looks like when it's assembled. So the pilot has a pistol, this rifle, 120 rounds of ammunition, and more importantly, he has that damn radio. Okay? So that's what's going on with that guy. Next, let's move on to, here's the situation map. So that F-15 still has one guy out there. Let's move down to the Strait of Hormuz. At the same time yesterday, at the same time that F-15 was being shot down at midday, we told you A-10 Warthog strike aircraft were flying around the Persian Gulf and that we had heard no reports of them destroying any small boats. Well, this happened. This is an A-10 was shot down off Qasem Island and the traffic separation scheme in the Strait of Hormuz, most likely by a air missile that was carried on the shoulder of an IRGC person on a small boat. Not a positive thing to have happen. Here's why this is significant. The A-10 Warthog is without any question the single toughest built aircraft that we have. Everything that you see here is armored. Double engines, it can fly on one engine. This where the pilot is a tub of titanium. You could hit that thing with anything. It's designed to fly with holes and half a wing. And more importantly, it has on the front of it this giant Gatling gun, right? Which can shred anything. The fact that this thing got hit, it flies, the problem is it flies very, very low. And if you start feeling confident that there's no one out there that can get you, well, the enemy can actually teach you a lesson that there are, in fact, people who can get you. Iranian man pads.
Yep.
A man pad is a man-portable air defense system, also known as a shoulder-launched missile. This is what it looks like. Oh, wow, things are loading slow today.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a U.S. government website.
I have a video
here
of explanation about the A-15, A-10.
I saw you saw that. I'm going to get through this quickly today so we don't do that. This is what it looks like. If you're in a small boat, you could carry 2 or 3 of these. And it turns out somebody did. Because not only was that A-10 shot down, the pilot ejected, and we did proper combat search and rescue. He was recovered. That's why he is not in Iranian hands. More importantly, there was a second one of these, and a second A-10 was damaged. It blew out one of its engines. And I'm going to show you a picture of that. That was taken in Desert Storm, a famous incident in which a female pilot in Desert Storm flew with one engine. And this is what it looks like. Hold on. When you land with one engine and the other one has been blown open by a man-portable air defense system. That's what it looks like. The missile runs up the tailpipe of your engine and blows out. Fortunately, the A-10 was very strong, and that second aircraft that was damaged managed to do an emergency landing, most likely in the United Arab Emirates. So, but Malcolm, wow, we lost 2 aircraft in one day. I'm sure glad nothing else happened. Well, funny you should mention it. We also had 2 of the rescue helicopters were damaged.
Yep.
And we had a report that an F-16 landed with an emergency landing, which may have been damaged. And then this happened. I will show you this on the imagery. By the way, the drone that was supporting the rescue of the pilot, the MQ-9 Reaper drone, was shot down. And there's video of it being shot down. We have now lost 17 MQ-9 Reaper drones. These things have rockets, missiles on them. They can carry bombs, and it's perfect for search and rescue. The problem is, when they shot down an F-15, they're probably going to be able to shoot you down too. But it's better to lose those than losing human beings. So right now, this is what's going on. We lost another aircraft yesterday to an Iranian drone. Let me see if I can find that picture. To an Iranian drone that was
the
fired.
Chinook in Kuwait?
Yes. I think I have the picture here, actually. We lost a Chinook helicopter at Camp Buehling, which is the base that we think that the special operations would be flying out of. Here it is. Here is the helicopter. A drone hit right in front of the aircraft and blew off the front end of that helicopter.
Yeah.
That happened yesterday also. So we are actually losing a lot of aircraft. Not as many as we lost in Desert Storm, but still a lot of aircraft. Okay, let's move on to the other
a lot of
significant.
aircraft
Yes.
all of a sudden. A lot
Yeah,
of aircraft all of a sudden.
someone asked me about that, and they said, "What's your theory about that?" I said, simple. They are now confident they can hit them, and they may have been biding their time, saving their weapons for a big campaign. Now they have a taste of blood, and now they're going to want to start getting more kills. Another system that was shot down yesterday by Iran is an AGM-158 Joint Attack Cruise Missile that the United States uses. This was shot down before it got to its target. The warhead section is here. And it tells us this: we don't see a lot of the anti-aircraft fire that's being shot in Iran because they don't have internet for most people. But they are shooting guns up in the air, right?
No.
It is not complete total air dominance anymore. We have to descend back to air supremacy, which means we can fly pretty much anywhere we want, but now we still need to behave. Okay, this next significant activity, and I will go over to the Iranian strikes, is Trump, before this shoot down, not even an hour, saying, you know it's going to be stupid.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be stupid, right? Hold on. I don't know why it's not...
I'm already shaking my head.
You can shake your head right now. Because you know it's going to...
Just
Okay.
there, just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. The Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want. We have nobody even shooting at us.
Oh!
There, just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. The Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want. We have nobody even shooting at us.
Famous last words. That's precisely what he said and almost as if the Iranians heard him, shoot him down. And they shot down the
Let him
F-15,
know what we
shot down
have.
the A-10.
Bring out
Yikes.
good guns today. Make him look bad. We have to make him look very bad today.
Yes, very good. Okay, let's move on to Iranian strikes. There were a lot of significant Iranian strikes other than the ones that we had.
Malcolm,
Israel.
I have one question on this about the A-10, because the man pads, are so common. It's not specific of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards or anything. They're all over the place. How many? Do you know how many have been lost over the years in Iraq and Syria, for instance?
Oh, A-10s?
Yeah, to
I
man
think
pads.
right now, I'm almost certain before this war it was 9.
Okay.
And I mean, but that was in an intensive. Iraq is 1/4 the size of Iran.
Yeah,
And they had a huge army, and we lost them during Desert Storm. We lost them during Iraqi freedom. We lost some in Afghanistan. But those were like flukes, golden BBs. Now
yeah.
they've got a taste for it. Now the whole country's being given missiles today. Everybody who has a surface-to-air missile training. When I was in the Ukrainian army, I went through Stinger school, and let me tell you, when I finished that course, I was like, I want to be a Stinger gunner. And in the 2022 Kharkiv counteroffensive, I was part of the Special Operations Task Force. And they were like, hey, we're looking for a Stinger guy. And I was like, I'm in. I'll do it. Because there's just something sexy about shooting down aircraft. Now everyone in Iran wants to be the guy, wants to be the person to shoot down the next airplane. So it's going to get interesting for us. Let's move on. We got 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Israel, Tel Aviv took multiple ballistic missiles. Here is a cluster bomb hitting multiple places in downtown Tel Aviv today. I think this is Ramat Gan. Watch this.
Come on. Yes.
And there's one over here. Sorry. I don't know if you saw it, but that building, the top of that building took a direct hit. I'll play it again. Just unhealthy. Now, the reason you keep hearing multiple explosions is this is a cluster ballistic missile falling, and don't forget, it has 70 to 80 basketball-sized bombs inside it. And that's why when you see these interceptors being launched, they're not launching one interceptor for the ballistic missile. They launch 12, 13 iron domes to try to intercept the cluster bomblets because they are potent. And here's some more of the damage from Israel. This has happened hours ago. That's from the cluster bombs that are falling in the streets there. That street looks familiar.
Yes.
Huh. Well, it's about Israel. All the streets look pretty familiar. Okay. The other places that got hit, Bahrain, 16 drones. The United Arab Emirates, the Habshan refinery was struck again. Not the Habshan refinery. The Hanshan pumping station was struck again. In Bahrain, it was the Sitar oil facility, Sitra Island oil facility, which is a giant separate island from the main island of Manama, which is where their oil pumps are. They hit it again. They have been trying to hit that every day and with good success. United Arab Emirates also had a Google data center was struck. Now, the Emiratis say it was struck by debris from a drone. Well, when it blows the entire face of the building off, the debris was when the drone went through your front door. So that's
You
a
have
cute
any
way of
idea
saying
how
it
much?
was actually direct hit. Yes, sir. What?
Now, you have any idea how much that facility cost?
No, but in the hundreds of millions of dollars because it was an AI data center.
30
Next,
billion.
Jordan.
30 billion.
What? It
30
couldn't be
billion.
30 billion. You mean 30 million, not that one facility.
Hold on, let me
Check
triple
that
check.
number, but it's a big ass number. Also, off Bahrain, in the Anchorage off Bahrain, a merchant ship was attacked with very, very specific reason. The Iranians track every individual ship that is in the Gulf, and they also do intelligence analysis on who owns it. It turns out this vessel, called the MSC Ishika, was partially owned by an Israeli company. So this morning it ate a drone and is on fire. Of course,
I stand by my
I have a
word. It
photo
is
of that.
30 billion. I just checked.
A building that costs 30 billion. The Khalifa Towers doesn't even cost 30 billion. Okay.
That's how much it cost, yes.
Okay. This is the MSC Yashika before a cruise missile hit it in the bridge and set it on fire. They don't know what the status of it is right now, whether it's burned out or not. But the Iranians are going through every ship. They're checking it twice. And if they find out you have any links to the United States or Israel, you're eating a cruise missile. Ignore reports that this vessel was going through the Strait of Hormuz. It was off Bahrain, nowhere near the Strait of Hormuz. Jordan, the Al Azraq Air Base in Jordan, where U.S. Special Operations and Rangers have been staging for the last 2 weeks, was struck with ballistic missiles this morning. They got through. This is southeast of Amman, Jordan, and was struck by ballistic missiles. Okay, that is it for the Iranian strike report. They appear to be sort of on the offensive. The United States has ordered 1,500 sailors who were hiding away in Bahrain, not doing anything because they were the staff of Commander 5th Fleet, where I worked. I served at Commander 5th Fleet in downtown Manama, Bahrain, and were ordered to leave the country. U.S. Airport Force transports flew in and flew out the entire staff of Commander Middle East Force, Commander 5th Fleet to Norfolk, Virginia. So they so fucked up that base so bad, they had to move to Virginia, and they will probably be reassigned. There's not a lot of work you can do there when your base, which is down here, right? Wait, let me rephrase that. Which was down here, has eaten no less than 10 drones and 10 ballistic missiles and has been smashed beyond smithereens. Worse, they blew up the goddamn Dunkin' Donuts and the Krispy Kreme and the freaking Baskin Robbins ice cream. So it's time to leave when they blow up the Baskin Robbins. So
Iranians are
I'm
looking out
really
for your
mad.
health,
I
guys.
spent a lot of time on that base. I spent a lot of time. I'm going to show you where the Baskin Robbins is, right? Over here, down here where the Navy Exchange is. So they blew up everything here. Barracks, headquarters building, communications, the piers have been damaged. Done. That base is done. I have a bad feeling we will never be returning to the Middle East in Bahrain.
Exactly, Malcolm, because that's the big thing. As long as the regime in Iran remains in power, there won't be a Fifth Fleet HQ in Bahrain again.
Yeah. Okay, those are all the combat activities. You guys, comments before we go to questions?
Yeah, I think that was the big thing I just said there, because there's no way that Navy ships will be coming back into the Gulf, and that the base in Bahrain will be reestablished as long as the regime in Iran remains in power. I don't think so.
I think
that's unlikely.
I think the Iranians will get this concession out of the Gulf states. I think that they will accept closing U.S. bases in Bahrain, because don't forget, they want a Shia uprising, right? I think they will get U.S. bases out of the United Arab Emirates, but I'm not quite sure about that because they seem to be the most militant. I think
Yeah.
Al Udeid. I think Al Udeid base in Qatar is finished. U.S.
Yeah.
Central Command is going to have to move out of
Absolutely.
there, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that they'll get at least half of the bases out of Kuwait. They'll
Yeah.
want to keep
I
Camp
already
Bueling, but they may close RF John, and Ali Selam Air Base. And I think the Iranians would accept this to cut half the bases. And the Saudis aren't going to do it. But I think the
I
Saudis on their own might lower the level of them. And don't forget, the Israelis want us to move out of those bases to Israel,
Yeah.
which I think would be a big ass mistake. But go on.
the UAE is going to be the most hawkish, like you said. The Saudis are going to be to try to play the most diplomatic, even though behind doors they're already working with China and looking for other treaties. But they're going to play the most calm down. The solution is in Riyadh. Let's sit down and have a last talk. But Qatar, I have already received information that they are talking about actually evicting the Americans out of 1/4 of its land. The United States has 1/4 of Qatar as a U.S. Air Force base. I need you to understand this. So they are
I think that
a
I think the big displacement will come to Israel and Jordan. And to tell you the truth, now that the Hashid Shabi in Iraq has not really started fighting us, if they turn into this, if they join this war, like we do something stupid like bomb all the power plants or water places, suddenly I think they'll kick us out of Iraq. I think they have the manpower to kick us out of Iraq, right? I mean, like everywhere except Erbil and Suleimaniya, but the rest of Iraq, I think we'll be out of Al Assad Air Base, Camp Victory, all these places. I think they'll fight us, and we'll take a lot of losses. Hey,
I
let's
think
go to
you're
question.
I
Go ahead.
think you're right there, Malcolm, because it will take so much of an investment to keep it there that the Trump administration isn't geared for that.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's
certainly
unlikely to happen.
when we start losing dead people, that's the
Yeah.
investment.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the thing is also, as you said, Wajeeh, about the Chinese, the trouble for the Gulf countries is that, after the US didn't defend them back in 2019, and the Chinese came in and made this so-called peace agreement with Iran, they know that's worth zero, and they'll always be cautious because of Iran's links and support for Iran. So
Okay.
they're in a tough spot.
Okay, we have 10 minutes to do a lightning round on questions. So let's keep our answers brief and we'll answer as many questions as possible. I have been warned not to break this teacup. Okay, what Ah, Al Jazeera reports U.S. and Israel hit a petrochemical and nuclear site in Iran. We reported on the nuclear one, which was hard water manufacturing facility. The petrochemical site was hit yesterday in Bandar Mashar, down near Iraq. And this is Israel, separate agenda, right? They're out to make Iran a failed state. You guys agree?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody
the
says,
scorched earth. That's what it's about.
yeah. Somebody says, why isn't the French special forces guy who was killed in Iraq never mentioned? He is under the Iraqi body count. We counted him. Somebody says we need to talk about that attack on the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia. Yes, we found out that an attack we reported on that was like March 5th, where the U.S. Embassy was hit with drones, was far more extensive. It was oriented at the CIA station in Riyadh. They hit it with 2 drones. One drone went through the building. The second drone went through the building, I guess, to destroy the skiff inside it. And the building was on fire for half a day. So we talked about it when it happened, but now they're getting more reporting on it. Let me see. Do immigrant workers get included in these casualty counts? That was from Bluestein. Yes, they are. Most of the Gulf state casualty counts are only immigrants. I haven't heard of any Emiratis other than the 2 pilots that crashed being killed. Uh, ba, 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 how far from a crashed plane can the ejection seat end up? Miles. Because don't forget, that plane is still continuing, even if it's spiraling out of control. It's spiraling out of control at 500 miles per hour, right? When the ejection seat goes off, it takes you up, out, and away. And you can come back while that plane crashes 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 miles away. So, what were these pilots doing before they were shot down? I know what they were doing. But everybody, Jacob, you know what they were doing? They were making jokes and shit.
Most likely, yeah.
Right? They were making jokes like, man, we bombed the fuck out of that place. Yeah, I hope them bitches got insurance.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
All of a sudden, boom. Oh, fuck. Eject. Oh, shit. I'm not a pilot anymore. I'm a survivor evader. And as you're coming down on the silk, you're going through, what was that post-ejection sequence I was supposed to have remembered when I was in Spokane, Washington, way back when? Yeah, that's why you got a SEER advisor in the U.S. Air Force at every level. Okay, I will not be commenting on the political stuff because principally Hegseth, the chaplain, the generals, that's an entirely different story. Don't you think it might end this war if the pilot is captured? No. I think it might escalate the war. Jacob, what do you think?
I think so too, and I think Trump is contemplating precisely that. And he's still got no idea of, if he escalates, how to, stop the war and save face and have an exit strategy. So it's going to make matters even worse.
Yeah.
And the Iranians are ready to hit and destroy as much infrastructure as they can in the neighboring countries.
Yeah.
So the Iranians have a literal bounty on the pilot of 10 billion Toman, which is around $60,000. $60,000.
You can buy
That's
your
a
ass a BMW with that.
Well, if you're an Iranian, you can buy yourself a house.
Oh, them young guys all want a BMW or a Toyota Corolla. Every one of them I've ever met from Iran. They love a BMW.
I'm just saying the Iranians, if they're serious about capturing the American pilots, because it signals to their people that they have brought the Americans down to their knee and they are under control, and that what's so-called America that likes to say that they're the strongest country in the world, but because they have the strongest military, which they do, but even the strongest military could not take us down. And that's the rhetoric that's going to be coming out.
Yeah. Hey, listen, so thank you. I'm going to give you a last comment on the next one. Jackie asked, what's the word on the 40 Israeli backup planes that Scott Ritter reported on, supposedly destroyed in storage? And briefly, what's up with Scott Ritter? Okay, I'm going to make this clear on this podcast one time. I never give any credibility to the following people. Scott Ritter, who was a UN weapons inspector during Desert Storm 1, who was sounding the alarm about weapons of mass destruction, is a convicted pedophile. Okay? This guy who lived in upstate New York was arrested and sent to prison for 3 years for trying to seduce a 15-year-old girl on the internet, and it happened to be a state trooper from Pennsylvania. So I do not give credibility, no matter what their background in, on convicted pedophiles and child molesters. And also, motherfucker works for Russia Today. Okay? No, not. And he's like, Ukraine is going to be destroyed in 3 hours. He said that in 2022. Never listen to crazy people whose credibility on their disgrace comes from America's enemies. Same thing with, what's his name? John Kiriakou. That guy literally made up a story about me that he just suddenly remembered 26 years after he alleged that it happened, right? And I wasn't even living in the United States when he said that I did this. He said that I bought books from him on eBay. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who is this guy? Went to prison for 3 years for outing the real names of CIA officers. He has zero credit. I don't care that he worked in Pakistan against Al Qaeda and ISIS. You're a convicted felon. And now it is, and he also works for Russia Today, right? Or comments on Russia Today and these crazy channels, because it is incumbent upon them to restore their dignity by saying crazy ass shit. Okay? Please don't ask me questions about Scott Ritter, John Kiriakou, Larry Johnson, all these, what's his name? Douglas fucking McGregor. These people are all working in Moscow's pocket. I do not address any stupid shit they say. And they come off with crazy ass shit, right? Like 1 million U.S. soldiers have been killed thus far. Don't damage your credibility by asking me those questions. Guys, last words. We can take it out. Jacob, where are you going to be tomorrow?
I'm going to be back in Copenhagen, so I'll join you and hopefully be a bit more fresh than right now. But the big thing I think also we should explain to people is that what we can see from the Iranians is that their C2, their command and control, is still working. They're still conducting something that we can say it makes sense. It has a pattern. So any thought that Trump by just escalating won't be met by a hard response. That's that's delusional. So unfortunately, you could say the Iranian system works, and that's what we can see. I don't think Trump acknowledges it and realizes it, but that's the danger.
Well, all right, guys, we got to go, because if you want to watch Save America Movement, I will be on with them. It'll be live streamed through my key with Steve Schmidt. So we will be talking about these again. So see you all tomorrow, same time, same bullshit. Bye.
Have a safe travel. Bye bye.